Hello folks, and welcome to the FTR Wide Open Pro Series here in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where we are kicking off race number 3 of about a 12 race season, as these drivers are getting ready to take on what is called a pretty tough track. I'm Dylan Steinkruger, alongside me Jeremy and Steve Zabo up here in the booth, along with Triffin Davis down giving us his stats every once in a while. Currently the drivers are in qualifying and they're getting ready to go into happy hour. We're here to bring you all 94 laps of the race. Hope you enjoy our coverage, and we're going to give you a little pre-race before we get going. All of the drivers up here have done a little testing. Before we get started, Steve Zabo, what do you think is going to be the hardest part about this race and the racing?
Well, in practice, the setup was pretty good. It was free on exit. It was a little tight in the entrance, though, of each corner of both 1 and 3, and I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for these guys to get a hold of, not letting their cars drift up into the wall, because this track is kind of fickle. It's got so much grip on entrance, unless you let go of the throttle a little too much, and then it just takes your car and drifts it straight up to the wall. So I think the hardest part of that, based on what I found in practice, is just holding your line. And if you're in double file or even 3-wide racing at some points after a restart, it's definitely going to be a challenge for these guys to make sure they hold their line and not hit each other.
Well, I think that the drivers have done a good job so far handling with the way the track has changed over the weekend. There has been some drivers complaining about bottoming out problems entering the corner, and as Steve said, that the car really can get tight in the corner, and you know, it's going to be difficult racing in a pack here early on in the race and possibly late in the race if we have a late restart. Over to you, Steve.
I'll take it from there. Well, I think the toughest part for me for going out and practice, I think that you're going to see some problems if we have some green flag pit stops. It's going to be these guys getting off a pit road. It's very slick getting on and it's very slick getting off, and I think somebody's bound to lose it somewhere in there. So on to last week's race at California Auto Club Speedway. Wow, folks, it was a controversial race. There was a handful of cautions, 8 cautions for about 27 laps. Of the 14 cars, I believe, that started, only 5 of them finished. What are some of the problems that you saw in that race, Steve Zabo?
Well, that's actually not tragically the first time that's happened to this series. Before my 3-week vacation from Full Throttle Racing as a driver, that actually happened a little too often. I remember there was a race last season at Pocono. I finished second and I had half a transmission. There was a race at Phoenix near the end of the season where I finished third, and that was actually the last car running, and I got third because of a bad pit stop. And I think one of the reasons why that's happening is it's just lack of common sense. A lot of these guys, they're young, they haven't driven for real yet, and they think that since it's only a game, you can do whatever the hell you want. But what they don't realize is there are a couple of people in here, and it's a shame that it's really not all of them, but there are a couple of people in here who are trying to contend for a championship here at the Wide Open Pro Series, and they start affecting the outcome of these races just because they can't use their heads. I'm not going to mention any names, but before I withdrew from this race, before I withdrew my number 66 Toyota out of this race, during practice, when I was out on the track, I noticed there were a lot of guys just overdriving every corner, hitting each other. There were actually a couple very nasty flips in practice, so I'm not totally sure what to expect, because last time I checked, Vegas was a little bit deceiving on how hard it really is, and quite frankly, I think it's harder than California. It's tighter, it's smaller, and it is faster. Believe it or not, there's so much more banking. It is faster in California, so I think we should look out for a little trouble there.
Thank you, Steve. I think it's about time for the TacoBell.com trivia question. What sponsor was Joe Nemechek's car in the 1995 campaign? Was it Army, Fastenal, Carl's Jr., or McDonald's? If you'd like to...
And if you'd like to enter that, you can go ahead and type it into the comment bar right here on this video. And that was just a little thing we put in there. We're going to have some of those that are going to pop up around the show. If you'd like an answer, just put a long on them, and we'll give you the answer sometime, maybe next week, or maybe later on in the show. We'll have to see. But after that California races, I think these guys are still in their drivers' meeting. There were some changes that came apart from that league. Jeremy, you've read them. The
No, sir.
What did you think of the changes to the league?
I think that the changes were good on one end and bad on one end. Some of the real changes were created off of one driver. I won't say the name, but I think that some of these rules could be good and some of them could be bad after this race, as we did have some real changes that could help and not so help, obviously. But yeah, Steve, over to you.
I'd just like to talk a little bit about one of those changes specifically that you mentioned, Jeremy. Recently, the Full Throttle managers and administrators got together and revised their approval list for the Wide Open Pro Series. In case you're not familiar with Full Throttle racing in general, there are several different series that are run here. About every night there's a new race, or another series, I should say. But on Sunday is the Wide Open Pro Series, and these pro drivers are selected based on skill, cleanliness, attitude, and overall ability. And recently they revised the list a little bit. However, as many different drivers agree, it's kind of a split between who agree and who disagree. There are a few drivers on the list that many feel should not be on the list, and there are some on the not eligible list that should be able to drive in this series. And one key example of that, key example of somebody who should, in our opinion, be on the list is Ian Plash. He practiced with us today before he, like me, withdrew from the race. And he was fastest in the first practice session and was not allowed to race because he had not, apparently, according to the administrators, been around enough recently. Same situation with me. I recently came off a 3-week break from Full Throttle, but in the meantime I was driving iRacing and having fun with it, and I came back. I believe last Thursday was my first race back in the Nationwide Series, and I finished second. And then the next night I got fourth. And then this morning, the Sunday Short Track Series, Ian won the race, and I finished fourth. But yet neither of us are pro drivers, and the same goes with Steinberger too, Dylan. He's a good driver. He won a pro race a couple seasons ago, subbing for Cal Young, which actually cost me the championship, but that's beside the point. But what I really don't get how they judge these drivers, and quite frankly, if you ask me, I think their mindset was eliminate the competition. And I hate saying it, but I think that's what Brennan McGee and Hayden Rapau were working at.
Well, I think as this happy hour session winds down, what do you think, Dylan, what do you think this is going through these drivers' minds before this race?
Well, I think as these guys are getting ready, I think you've got to be worried about the speed of this track. These guys are barreling down these front stretch on this tiny little track. These straightaways, they are real small track. The pit road's sort of small, you know, there's a little bit more room than a short track on it. I think I'd be scared about driving in there. Hit too bad hard, it's gonna slide up and take a ton of people out, and you're gonna be feeling real bad. Those kind of wrecks hurt you not in just that race, but they hurt you all the way down the road, and that's what's really going through your mind. And as I think we're actually gonna we're gonna bring down a couple drivers here. I think the first one we got here, I think we're gonna bring down Kyle Young. We'll see if we can get him. Kyle Young, this is Dylan Steinker. You're up in the booth. You got us?
I do, Dylan.
Alright, we're getting ready to go racing here. You're currently running 6th in the points. What is your mindset going into this race? That's what we were talking about. What's going through your mind right now about how you're going to race this entire race?
Oh, my mindset is just, you know, try to stay clean and get a top 5. You know, I'm not overly great at this track, so I just want to keep it clean, you know, lead a couple laps and get a nice top 5 finish out of this, and just to rack up some points, survive the night, and head off to Atlanta next week with a full head of steam and confidence booster.
Thank you, Kyle Young. As you know, to be honest with you, you are my spotlight driver for tonight's race, and I think that it's going to be a tight race to the end, and I hope to see you up front early in the race. And hopefully
We do too, Jeremy. Thank you.
Alright, folks, that was Kyle Young up here in the booth, and Kyle, good luck in the race.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Alright, folks, our next driver is our in-race reporter, Steve Rada. He's going to be driving the number 88 Young Motorsports National Guard car. Let's see if we can get him. Steve Rada, we got you up in the booth. Can you hear us? Alright, we just got done talking to Kyle. So his mindset was to just get in there, get a good head start, have good momentum going into Atlanta. What is going through your mind right now going into this race?
Finishing top 5, do good, and show my new car owner how can I go.
Alright, I think Tacos has something on next.
Hey, Steve, it's Steve. I have a question for you. We were talking up here a little earlier about what we thought as drivers as what was going to be the toughest challenge about not only the track but the race itself. What do you think is going to be the hardest part to overcome throughout this 94 lap?
Me, I think it's going to be both. With drivers don't know how to race this track and still trying to learn, and with the track just want to push. Yeah. I think it's going to be a low line fest the whole day.
Yeah, I agree. So good luck to you, Steve.
Well, as we are about to start the race, they are in their cars. They're about to start their engines, and we can't wait to see this race. So while they get their cars ready, and we'll be right back.
Alright, welcome back. Now let's get down to Triffin Davis, who's giving the starting command for the race.
Alright, thank you, crap. Well, anyways, gentlemen, start your engine.
As the engines are fired here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Wide Open Pro Series, let's go over to Steve for our last thoughts here before the race starts.
Hey, thanks. I might take a look at one driver for the race tonight. Check out the number 14 Future Shop Chevy of Speedy Motorsports. This is the driver owner of Sonny Tallman. Recently, today, I signed a contract with him. He's going to be my owner in all series, including the Pro Series, once I get approved, and the Full Throttle Race of Champions, which is the IROC series coming up, which is starting tomorrow night. I want to take a look at him. He and I were working on a little bit of a line issue earlier in practice, and I think he learned a lot in practice from both of us. So look for him to get up to the field. He's starting in the back, but so are a lot of good guys. So I think it's going to be a good win.
Thank you. And as the pace car is about to pull off the truck here, we're getting ready for some good hard racing. As I believe the pace car is off. I think we're going to be ready. Be ready. Hang on. Boogity, boogity, boogity! Let's go racing here at Las Vegas, boys!
Adam Burton got a great start. It looks like he's going to jump out to the lead. He's going to be able to keep that low line, which, as we talked about, is so crucial in this track.
By the way, folks, we didn't mention it, but Adam Burton is a
trouble.
That's Joe Connolly. It looks like
Oh, we got a big wreck here on the...
Joe Connolly's far into the bottom wall. Looks like he has some nice rear end damage to that. I see him flattening the tires.
You know what? Looking at it, I saw it live because I had an eye on the 30. It looked like he got up high and got into those marbles up there, that loose part of the track, and just spun it up on his own. Unfortunately, hit the one car. It's a shame. It's the first lap of a very long race, and there's two good drivers that are already eliminated. Looks like this is going to be just like California.
Yeah, as we saw, he hit the wall pretty hard, I believe. He's got some major damage, it looks like.
It looks like DK saying he has some engine damage. We kind of feel bad for DK. He kind of got involved in that. DK is racing racing, and last week he was actually the winner of California, so it looks like bad luck for the winner of last week's race, as long as Joe Connolly is also front runner in the last couple of races.
Yeah, Joe Connolly's another one of those owner-driver combinations. He's got his own team with a couple of other guys in the field driving for him, but he owns that car. So that lap 1 wreck is really going to hurt him. And I believe the one car, DKRF, just wrecked himself going into the pits too, so he's got a couple problems he's going to have to deal with.
Yeah, I also saw that.
Well, look at that 88 as he is pulling the 17 here through 3 and 4.
And the yellow flag actually never came out for that. NASCAR deemed that wreck as it was in the backstretch. They went down. There's no debris that came off the car, so they went ahead and they kept racing.
And the 88's going, or excuse me, the 88 just got passed by the 17 on the inside groove. Steve, what do you think about that?
Well, that's what we talked about. The inside groove is so crucial. It's probably where the majority of the passing is going to happen. The only time today I can really see an outside pass happening is either if somebody gets into some trouble, gets a little loose on the bottom of the track, or if the guy on the bottom's on pretty old tires and the guy up top has fresh rubber. That's the only time I really see outside passing getting occur today. As we see the 5 car, Joe Connolly going a lap down.
Yeah, Dylan, what do you think about the outside groove? Do you think any cars will be able to make any passes late in the race up there if it's a crucial time in the race?
I don't think anybody got a really long run in, but I think it's going to come down to the tire wear on the cars. If you're running against a car with a ton of tire wear, or 2 cars with a ton of tire wear, of course the car is probably going to be better. You're going to be able to get down there, and you're going to be able to go a little bit faster. It's probably going to be a little bit harder to hold the line on the top. The car really slides up driving into those cars. And it gets really dangerous when you get really close to that wall. But if you have fresh tires, it's going to depend on what your driving style is. If you like driving up there, I could see maybe sticking up there for a while. But it's just going to depend on those crucial factors of tire wear and like it's really like the track.
Now I have a question for you guys. As we see here, they continue this actually a pretty good green run here. We're almost a tenth of the way through the race. Get back on the car for just a moment. Joe Connolly, he's only 1 lap down because he has not made a pit stop yet to fix that car. He is by no means out of this race. If he gets a quick caution coming up here shortly, he could get the lucky dog. How hard is it to drive a damaged car around this place?
with the aerodynamics, especially here at Las Vegas, it becomes, I don't think it hurts you a ton with the game. I don't think the game works a ton around the aerodynamic damage, looseness, tightness model, but I think it's really going to slow him down. And one thing you risk if he has a lot of engine damage is that engine just completely shutting off. As you now see, one of the other persons involved in that wreck, DK, he's back down pit road. But I think Joe Connolly has a great chance if he gets a quick caution here. He gets his lap back, and even if he doesn't get his lap back, he can get the wave around eventually.
Yeah, that McDonald's Impala does not look like it's gonna be compatible to win this race anymore. Let's move up toward the tail end of that front pack. You think the battling like this early on is going to cause another wreck that could take some competitive drivers out of this race? Like the 72?
Not good.
Oh, thanks. I think the safest place to be in one of these kind of tracks, I think the safest place to be is way out front, away from these wrecks, either way out front or way in the back where nobody can touch you. You see those guys are racing side by side. It takes one person's dumb move to ruin your entire race. So I think I'm comfortable at, and if that's in the middle of a pack, then I think you got to be there. But if you think you're gonna run up and kill somebody, then I think you should be dropping back or being out front.
Well, as that 30, or excuse me, as that 30 car just keeps pulling away from the 94, I think that this track's just going to get tighter and tighter the longer the run. I mean, what about you, Steve? What do you think about that?
Well, it's funny you mentioned where do you think the safest place to be is, because I think we can all agree that at least in this first run right now, the 30 car of Adam Burton, he is the class of the field, because he's continuing to pull out his lead even about 15 laps in. We're approaching the 15th lap of this race. But there are a couple stages throughout the run where I think the field is most vulnerable to an accident. First of all, at the beginning of a run, if we get a yellow here and we get everybody pits, gets fresh tires, they're all golden. They think they're invincible when they're on fresh tires. That would be one of the stages of the race where I think the highest number of cautions could occur, because you got so many people that with that invincibility feeling that they think they can go wherever they want when they really can't. As we mentioned about the lack of grip in the high side. Also, as we see the 71 car, Neil Froelich, he just pounded the wall in that TaxSlayer.com Chevrolet for TRG Motorsports. As we approach the latter stages of some of these runs where the tires really start to drop off, and they get really tight, really hard to keep on the bottom and to hold a line, I think that's when the field's going to be most vulnerable to yellows. And also, along with that, later in the run where you get some lap traffic, these guys are going to be very desperate to stay on the lead lap. Guys like my spotlight driver, Sonny Tallman, he's dropping back considerably as we got a pass for the lead here. Looks like Brennan McGee's going for the lead.
Yep, that was a nice pass there on the bottom. I don't think the 30 is going to really push the issue here early on in the race. I think he's just going to see how his car's going to handle here early in the race, and then maybe about halfway through start to take it a little bit more. Dylan, do you think that was a little aggressive early on of diving it to the bottom of the racetrack?
I think it was a little aggressive. You've got to make a move somewhere, especially when you want the position as bad as I'm sure he does. We've just gotten word from down in the garage, I believe, that we have had the first car retired. The number 1 car, I believe, of DKRF and Hating Racing, the McDonald's sponsored car, he has officially retired from the race, and we're going to go ahead and give him an interview. So DK, can you hear us?
I think he might just be really frustrated over the result of this race, getting taken out on the first lap.
Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get a response from him, but as we continue to look at this battle for the lead here, it's just, I can't believe they're still running competitive lap times. I mean, we're 19 laps into this race. I would think the times would have dropped off just a little bit right now, but it's still staying about the same pace here, and I just can't help but think that in a few laps that these times are really going to start falling off.
Well, they are falling off actually considerably. Brennan ran a 39.314. The fastest lap in practice on fresh tires was a 29.5, so that's about 0.8 of a second that 20-lap-old tires are dropping off. So there is a little bit of a drop-off. It's noticeable.
Yep, and these guys are going to be nearing pit stops anytime soon. And I didn't think we mentioned it earlier, but we give the Budweiser Pull Award out to Adam Burton. He ran 28.905, which was over a tenth faster than anybody else. So we give credit to him as he got to lead quite a few laps at the beginning. As now Flyer.
Well, I just saw that pass, but I'm looking at the 99 of Kyle Young, my spotlight driver, and I'm watching him, and his last lap is 0.4 of a second off those top two, and I don't know if he must be struggling with his car trying to find a good line, because he's pulled away from that pack behind him, but he's in position 3. He's just not anywhere close to the lap times that those top two cars are running.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the crew chiefs are saying that around 8 more laps or so, these guys are going to have to be planning to make their pit stop. As you gotta have a plan going in here. You're going to get tires, 2 tires, hope for a caution, maybe just fuel. That's a risky strategy, but if you want to lead some laps and get some 5 bonus points, it's a good one.
I think I just saw the 30 scrape the wall off of 4 there. I don't know if it came very close if he didn't.
Yeah, looking at his right side, I don't think he has much damage, though. He should be able to continue. He's actually closing the gap on McGee. But it's funny you mention what your fuel and tire strategy is going to be. I think right now you have to take 4 if you're coming in, as we see a pass or a lead brewing here. I think you have to take 4. If you're under green, you're just going to get killed if you take 2. It'd be too much of a waste.
Yeah, as you see, that 30 just opened up a nice pass in turn 3 and 4 now. He's pulling that 94 as of, yeah, he's just pulling him down the backstretch. I think he's, the 94 maybe wore out his tires, and maybe he's just going to take it easy, or is he going to dive it back in here? And he's going to make a move to the inside, but it won't work. Wow, he's just, he's making it stick, and here he comes with a good run off of 4, and he's going to make the pass at the line.
I think Adam Burton, the 30, had to lift a little bit coming off of 4 to avoid hitting that wall like we thought he did a few laps ago. So that was a smart move. You know, 1 pass. You still have almost 70 laps left in this race. You'll be fine.
Yeah, Adam's been pushing up quite a bit lately. What do you think that's attributed to? Is that just the tires heating up, or is that more the tires wearing out? Or is it more of a combination?
A little bit of both. Probably cold tires are definitely fast here. Not ice cold. Probably about a lap or 2 is the prime, like qualifying times. But these tires wear out so much. This track is just so grippy that it'll eat the tires right up. As we see the leaders continuing to be the same.
Joe Connolly's coming in for the pit stop.
Yeah, you'll see he's about to go another lap down too, so he probably figures, hey, I'm not going to get back on the lead laps, just ride around for some points. It's a good idea.
And we'll do a quick pit stop to see how hard it is to get down pit road here, as he looks like he's going to really slow down and be safe down pit road. He doesn't want to make anything worse than it is, and it looks like he's going to come down here, and he's going to come all the way down pit road into a stop. It looks like he's going to take 4 tires and a lot of damage repair here.
Yep, pit road speed is about 45, so yeah, it's a very slow pit lane for how fast these cars run around the track. So you gotta be careful getting out of it, you don't spin out. You gotta be careful going out there, you don't spin the tires and spin out as well.
Yeah, you see the crew.
I'm watching it in the back here. We got a good battle heating up for 6th place. We got the 71 of Neil Froelich and the 88 of Steve Rada. Rada just made the pass, so he's going to take over P6. I think Froelich's car is a little damaged, though, so that could be why.
Yeah, I just, excuse me, go ahead.
Yeah, Dan Monroe back there, he just made a great pass on Kyle Young. He goes right underneath him. He's going to pass that number 93. You don't know Quack car, so we'll see how Dan's a very good driver, and he's been running well these last couple races, and I think he's going to get a good finish here today.
Yeah, oh, excuse me, but yeah, as you see Kyle Young, he's just pulling right back up on that 72 off of turn 2. I could see that he's probably wanting to stay toward the front of the pack so he doesn't get wrecked late in the race or even early in the race, but as we're coming to lap 30 here, I think we're about to see some cars come down pit road. I think I heard one of the crew chiefs say about 5 until we pit, so it should be interesting.
The 30 car of Adam Burton, he's coming down right now. We're also going to see the number 99 car and the 88 car. Everybody's coming in. We got the 17s planning, the 30, the 88, and the 99 are all planning to pit this time. Here we go. We're going to watch the 30 car, come down pit road. He should take 4 tires and fuel.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead. Like he's gonna come down at 45 miles an hour. Be very conservative here so he does not speed. And here he comes, 30 miles an hour. He's slowing down quite a bit.
He might be out of fuel. You gotta wonder because his pit stop's all the way up at the
he blew up.
Head of pit road.
I think we have he has an engine failure, I think.
He might be, yeah. I think he might have just blown his engine. Tough break for the number 30 car, and he's just trying to barely get in. We're not sure yet. We believe he's blown up.
And he's going to the garage area. He is in the garage area. Yeah, there's smoke coming out of that engine, and he's done. He's done.
You know what? It almost makes you wonder. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, it makes you wonder, because we saw him come into the pits rather briskly. You might think that during a downshift or something, he might have missed a gear and coming into the pits, because he didn't really start to slow down until he ducked off. So that's a shame for Adam.
As we see Kyle Young coming off of turn 2 here, trying to get back up to speed. Let's see how he gets through the gears here. See, he comes off of turn 2. He's going to merge right about there, about halfway down the back stretch, and he looks like he's going to come out and around position 5.
I think we got somebody down there. Adam, this is Dylan Steinkruger up in the booth. What happened out there?
Hey, it said you ran out of fuel.
And yeah, we just got word here that he did run out of fuel in his. But yeah, Kyle Young here. We got a battle for position on the racetrack, guys.
You know, that raises another question too. He might have had actually a fuel pickup. These cars use something. A lot of teams use something called the Waterman system, and it's controlled by a cable. And once that breaks, the fuel intake ceases, and the engine obviously stops and turns. It's a safety mechanism that was put in a couple years ago, and a lot of teams use it, but it fails an awful lot. And I think that might have been what happened to the former leader of this race.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for him, as he had a good run going early. And see, these problems can come when you're under pressure in this series. And we see the 5th place car just went 1 lap down, Kyle Young, and his number 99, I don't know, Quack. You know, he's really fighting to stay on that lucky dog position, you know, he's really fighting.